couple of tourists were driving in the middle of the Australian outback. Despite being advised not to do so, they decided to do a lot of their driving at night time. The main reason it is best to travel during the day in the red centre is due to the fact that it is hard to spot wildlife crossing the road, and also, if you were to break down, help is a very long way away. But the couple were excited to continue their adventure in their trusty Volkswagen Combi nonetheless. They were driving down a long straight when they both noticed some headlights appear behind them. The car was quickly approaching them. The man noticed that this car was right behind him and it was beginning to frustrate him, so he slowed down to encourage the driver to overtake him. But the man did not overtake them. They both started to feel nervous when the car started to flash them. Reluctant to pull over, they ignored the man's attempts to get their attention. When the man drove alongside them, he gestured at them excitedly to pull over. He told them, "You've got sparks coming out of your exhaust. You should pull over and we will take a look." Despite the initial reluctance, they agreed to pull over. The woman looked at her partner and saw what looked like a friendly conversation with the stranger. He went to the front of the Combi and asked his partner to jump in the driver's seat and rev the car when they asked. The lady heard more friendly chatter and some laughter. She then heard her boyfriend say to put her foot down. She put her foot in the accelerator, and as she did, she saw a flash and heard what she thought was the car backfiring. And then there was complete silence. Before she knew it, the strange man was at her car window, pointing a gun in her face. Shocked and caught completely off guard, the woman raised her hands in protection. The man demanded she get out of the car, and he tied her hands with some makeshift homemade handcuffs. He attempted to also tie her legs and tape her mouth, but she resisted. He led her to his car, where he threw her in the back and walked away. Stunned, frightened, and having no idea what was happening, her instincts kicked in. While she was in the back of the car, she thought she heard the sound of something being dragged along the ground. She managed to wrangle her way out of the homemade handcuffs, and feeling completely lost, she ran into the desert, not sure of where to go. She ran for a few minutes before suddenly the entire area she was running in was illuminated. The man had returned, noticed she had escaped, and decided to use his car headlights to search the outback for her. Luckily, before being spotted, she hid behind a bush. Initially, she heard only silence, but soon she could hear footsteps. They were getting closer. She covered her mouth in fear. She was terrified that the man would find her. Soon, the footsteps did not sound so close. Then, she heard a sound she recognized, her Combi starting and being driven away. She thought of fleeing at this point, but knew the man would be back, and she still had nowhere to go. Sure enough, she began to hear footsteps again, this time really, really close. He was not giving up. She kept her cool, terrified her heavy breathing would give herself away. She heard another car start and drive away. She was convinced the man would return though, so she still didn't move. She was right as well. The man returned on another 3 occasions. but he could not find her. Hours passed, and the woman was frozen still, petrified that any move would cost her her life. But then she heard the sound of a vehicle, a road train, roaring. She knew it was now or never, and sprinted back to the road. She ran into the middle of the road and gestured at the truck to pull over. In the dead of night, the truck did not notice her straight away. The driver could not stop his massive road train for another kilometer. He had no idea if he hit the woman or not. Thankfully, she was okay, and he drove her away. She had a hell of a story to tell, and the shocked driver took her straight to the nearest police station. Once the woman told her story, the police swarmed on the location, looking for evidence. It didn't take them long to locate their combi, a few kilometers away, dumped in the desert. What they were yet to locate was the woman's boyfriend. He was nowhere to be seen. Another man that was nowhere to be seen was the mystery offender, who seemingly had no motive. This caused a media frenzy, with people quickly starting to question the female and wondering if her story was actually true. Then came a piece on television that changed everything. Police released CCTV footage, which featured a man walking into a store close by to the scene and at a time just after it took place. Police pleaded to the public to help identify the mystery man. Many people called, with the police managing to track down the person in the video. At a similar time, police found crucial DNA evidence in the combi, on the gear stick and in other areas, which belonged to an unidentified male. The mystery man was identified, captured, and arrested, though there are still some skeptical people out there that believe that this man is innocent.